Hi everybody, it's Colin here. Well, we're doing another update in July. I've come up with a plan and I want to just share it with you. I'm quite excited about it. I think I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment, but the reasons for doing it, I think of myself, are excellent. So I'll let you know in this video, and there's some other bits I've done. And you'll see. Okay. Okay, a bit of progress with the bottom of the hill and from gantry area. I've put some paving in and an edge stone, curbstone on this side. I've got the next one for here. What it actually is from Metcalfe, and what I do with all my Metcalfe stuff, any white edges I paint the same colour or as near as damn it, just to take the white edge off. Not on the back side, but off the side what's going to be seen I do. And this one is the next one in line. Here, I'll get it up in the right place, somewhere round about there. Stick it down and you'll notice the different colour there. I've painted the tarmac colour, what's on the hillside. I've filled that gap in there. If you just look closely, there are some white spots. Now if I lift that board up, you'll just see the stuff I filled it in with. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a brush. I couldn't the other day because it was still soft underneath. It was okay over the top, but a bit soft underneath. Still got to weather the road. Okay, so what's going to happen with the road? I was going to put a roundabout in, but it wasn't going to work, and it wouldn't work in the real world either for safety. So what's going to happen is vehicles will come down the hill, which I'll either go straight on over a crossing here to the station, which is going to be over there, or the wagons will come into the middle of the road, naturally wait for clearance, and they will then turn right into it, go around, and then they'll go across here and into the Stobart yard. Well, the containers are going to be unloaded if they're to be unloaded or to get lifted onto back of wagons. They'll come out of there, out here, they'll go up here, they'll go around, and then there'll be a giveaway sign here, and then they'll go off and up the hill to the rest of the world. Bridge there for pedestrians who may work in there, who want to walk to work from here, or cars to go backwards and forwards to the school area, which is going to be in here. Now, I have had a suggestion, and I do apologise to the person who made it, about putting in a tunnel. And for two reasons. Personally, I think it's a good idea. I had thought of a tunnel, but it's when I had the river and I was going to try and put a canal in going into a tunnel just for a short one, just to get it in. But as you know, I've changed my mind. I've just got the canal now. So what I'm going to do here, because this is, the end where I stand, and to finish it off, I'm going to put a tunnel in here. What just comes up the side and goes over the top and back down. It'll allow me to do something which is quite a good thing in a fashion. It'll cover this end, which is a good idea. And the other is for people who want to walk to the station from the outside world or from this town area up there, to go over the Humpback Bridge and get past all this, it's quite a dangerous area. Lots of wagons. Okay, I know it's only make-believe, but this is what we try and do. We make it look real. So what I'm going to do is put a path. Naturally, there'll be a path down each side of the canal anyway, but it'll go over there to get to this path, and this is why there's a path here, because it'd be safer for them to go this way on the path round here. Excuse me, I'm not in the right place. Round there, across the crossing, except for when there's a train coming and there'll be a barrier, and then into the station. So that's what I've decided to do with the end of the canal there. So very grateful to that person, and if I can have a look back at the comments, I will mention the gentleman who said it, because it is a good idea. What I'll also do in the tunnel is run the paths through, because in the olden days they used to have the towpath down for the horses or mules to pull the canal boats along. Well, when it got to a tunnel, the water just let it freewheel underneath. It went downhill for them to get to the other side. They used to go underneath, and I would have to do some research, but I don't know if there was any lamps or anything lit up in these tunnels for them to see. Don't know how long there were, but I may just put a light in, a modern day light system, because naturally we're a bit more safety conscious and stuff now. I've also put tarmac down on here, and you can see where it ends up there. I just did a little bit there. It's going to all change to be murky in here, because what I may do also is here just put a small slip road in for the wagons to go straight in to get the container offloaded. And I may, when I put the barriers and fencing round to secure this area, I may put also a small workers' shed there, an office where they come in and get dispatched. For that, it may be a case of all wagons go in that way and they only come out this way. So I don't know at the moment. We spend a lot of time track planning and making things happen. We can be quite fussy little people when it comes to the scenery to make it look right. So I'm going to stick this piece on here, and I'll come back to you a bit later when I've done some more. Okay, that's the buffer stops in. They're a Pico buffer stop. I've just painted the red on, and then it's got the lights on, which you can see shining. Right, I'm just showing you the colour of the concrete. Quite happy with that. Nothing wrong with it colour wise. I know it doesn't show up very much here, but I'm happy with it. Now, I've used the same make of paint as I've done my tarmac and the concrete colour, and I've used this yard grime. So I thought I'll put some on and see what it looks like in my Eddie Stobart area, and I'm already laughing because, oh dear, that's it. It just looks like mud, soil colour. It's not what I was expecting. Now, I know when you open the container you can see the colour, but I thought, well, I'll see what it goes on like, you know, it might actually look quite good, but I'm afraid it doesn't. But it's not wasted, because I can always put it under grass as a soil colour, but that's no good. So I've been looking on the internet, the good old internet, of pictures, and done some research. It's going to be concrete colour, and then I'll mucky it up, because it's harder for them to put containers down and stuff like that. So that's why they use concrete. So I'm going to paint that now concrete colour. Don't know how it'll cover that. Might take a couple of coats, but I'm not bothered. You learn these things, makes you chuckle, gives you a bit of a smile, thinking, what were they thinking when they called it yard grime? That does not look like yard grime to me. Right, I've glued Eddie down. That's it with the concrete. I've just done a bit of tyre rubbing on the concrete there as it comes out of there. So that's all right. Quite pleased with that. And there's a couple of containers stuck there. I will get more. Eddie Stobart is stuck down permanent. Can't get it out now. So any work in that area now will have to be done in situ. Okay, we've now got some fencing going from that corner along here, and that will continue down there to a gate. I can get it to focus. Yeah, down there. Show you from the other side. Everything's gone off the top. Okay, so that's just showing the fence from the other side. Pleased with that? I'm always pleased, aren't I? Right then, so looking at this area, here is going to be a bridge. It was suggested I put a hump bridge in, and I thought, yep, that's a good idea. But unfortunately, I would have to raise the land round here and on the other side, just so it's not as humped to get in. Because I was measuring the hump bridge so the people can walk underneath. That's why he's out. He's my little guide. And it was going to have to be quite high in a fashion. But Robert from Robert Trains has actually guessed, or had an educated guess, or even though it was a suggestion what I could do in this area. And why I say it's a guess, because this is something I was already going to do in this area. Now, I've built it like this because that's how the hillside is. And when I come to do it, it will be machined or made to work on the edge of the cliff. And that is a funicular railway. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically, because I live in Yorkshire and we have the East Coast, and there's one at Scarborough, and when I was a kid I used to go on it. Now, why I want to use it, because it's just different, and all this area here, even though it's a bomb site, all this area is a heritage area and it's got protection. So that's why there's going to be one of these here, because in the olden days that's how they got up and down, or one way. Now, what I've come up with to go across the canal is a lift up, counterbalanced bridge. And again, it's protected by the heritage people. This is why I'm saying this, because it's very old. That funicular railway is old, and naturally steam is old. So this is why this area is all protected. Now, in the olden days, this is where the story comes in. This area here was like a docking area where canal boats used to pull in and dispose of the loads, and also it was housing for the workers, because in those days you didn't travel, you virtually lived on the job. But because times changed, they filled it in, and this is why it's all flat round here. Now, I know we've got new, but unfortunately, if you look around, there are new and old things, and I think it'll look really nice, the contrast between modern and old. Now, just excuse me a minute. I have drawn a very poor picture of what it's like. And I don't know if the light is going to be helpful. That is the canal with the lines on. That's the road bridge, which is slightly starting to lift, and it's to a framework with wire chain connected, hinged here, and it's counterbalanced there. And in the really olden days, there used to be down here a windy handle where you used to wind it by hand, and it would lift the bridge so it would go right up. Right, now my idea is to put one of these here, because they only took horse and carts and towards the end just vehicles of cars. Because this was the school area for the kids, for the workers of this area. So there's a bit of a story of how this has developed. When I started 4 years ago, I didn't know I was going to come out with that. And what I'm going to make it out of is that. Pieces of wood. Not all of it, of course, just some of it. There's all sorts of different sizes in there, as you can see. And what that came off was I started to collect a magazine to build a galleon way before I started doing this model railway again. And I did so many weeks, hence all this. And I thought, nah, it'd be cheaper to buy a full size one than buy this in magazine format. So I stopped, but I kept all the pieces of wood because I thought one day I'll need these. And sure enough, I'm going to make those into one of them. So that's going to be interesting. It will lift, but it may be only manual. I want to make it automatic. Well, that I push a button and it works. You could say if I can get that static object to move, I can get that to move, but I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet. So that's a project. And the other thing then, in this area here, it means the road will be flat because of how it's designed. So I may also, behind it, put a small footbridge over, because in the days of winding the handle, it wasn't a very fast job, so people wouldn't stand about even in them days, so they'd just go over the footbridge. And now it's not moved very much. And a little bit more information about this end here where I said I was going to put a tunnel. Something else they did in the olden days, they used to have sometimes they didn't take the path through. Certainly on long tunnels. They might have done on a short one, so that the horse or the donkey the mule can pull the canal boat through. But what they used to have was leggers, as I understand the correct terminology for it. And on the front of the boat, there used to be a plank what stuck out at each side, and the man used to lay on it with his feet against the wall, and they used to propel the boat through the canal. And as I understand, there used to be one in the Pennines 14 miles long, and they used to do that. It got to a point that they had to be tied onto the planks because they were falling off and they were drowning. And even in those days, there was health and safety. Maybe not as bad as it is today, but that's what it was. But mine's just going to have the footbridge my walkway going into it, because it's not a very long one. But that was just a little bit of information on that area. And also it ties this tunnelling to the heritage part that they sometimes use leggers to go through tunnels in the olden days. So there we have it. That's what I'm going to do there. So I hope that was an interesting story. I'm quite pleased with the story. I didn't know I had the imagination to make that up. So changing this area from a canal area where they used to unload the canals to a container yard. And that's why it's so flat round here. So there we have it. And then they brought the railway in as well. So there we have it. And I'll keep you informed with the progression. Okay, bye. Just one thing. That is the name, how it's spelled, Funicur, railway, for there. That's not what they're called. What they're called, don't know. Lift Up Bridge, I don't know. I haven't looked into the name yet. And the other thing I'm going to do here with this tunnel is literally make it that they used to use the leggers. I've just had a little think, because what I'm going to also do is put in what they used to do with the animals was they used to walk over the top, because they wouldn't walk in the dark or with candlelight. They'd be scared to flipping death. So they used to walk over the top of the hill, and on these also long tunnels, they used to wait at different areas for the boat to get there to make sure they were all right, because there'd be holes in the ground what used to go all the way down to the water, to the canal, and they'd shout down, "Are you all right?" And they'd go, "No, we're tired, we'll keep going, we have to do now, we're halfway through." So every now and then there was holes. So what I may do is I may just put a little hole in there just to show it, and have the animals being led over the top. So that's another little bit of interest, a bit of information for you. Well, I hope you like that bit of information and what I'm going to be up to. It's going to be quite interesting, I think. So I will crack on with it. It's going to be very good, I hope. We will see what it's like. So, thanks for watching. Any new people who watch me and like to subscribe, please do, and like, and certainly leave me some comments on what your thoughts are on my plans. Okay. Bye for now.